Hello and welcome to What's Good Huskies. I'm Thomas Breach, your host, as we're live here in the studios of UTVS. Today on What's Good Huskies, we're chatting with a new face around Huskies athletics around the campus of St. Cloud State University, being head men's basketball coach Quincy Henderson. Quincy, what's good?
Not too much. Yeah, it's a cool day. We're slowly digging out of winter in Minnesota. It's been a little bit of an adjustment for me coming up from Texas, but no, excited for off season here. Excited for spring and summer just around the corner.
Yeah, those springs in Texas, I'm sure, are a little bit different than the springs that you get here in Minnesota, right?
Yeah, I saw. My buddies are texting me down there. It's 80, 85 right now and sunny, so it is all good.
So, Q, of course, springs in years past for you, serving the associate head coach down south in the Lone Star Conference. A lot of recruiting. That stuff starts to heat up. What's the spring been like for you as the season came to a close and rolled into the off season?
Yeah, it's been a bit of it's been a whirlwind since I got here, but, postseason, you think, well, we've got downtime, right? I know we're not practicing, so we have time to do all the things that we weren't able to do earlier, but, we jumped right into the recruiting cycle pretty heavily, trying to lock up 2023 kids. We've been on the road most weekends since we finished over in Sioux Falls in the conference tournament, so, yeah, it's been busy. We've had a lot of kids on campus. I've had numerous conversations with high school coaches, AU coaches, parents, you name it. But yeah, it's been fruitful. I think we're heading in the right direction. We have some good kids signed, and excited about that.
Are there any differences in your role recruiting-wise, being an assistant coach in years past, now going into year one as a header?
There is a difference in some regards. You're kind of the last pitch, the salesman of those final conversations with kids and parents about where you see them and what the expectations are. You're still building relationships. That thing doesn't change whether you're, assistant, a GA, a part-time. You're still heavily involved in that. And I have my part-time and volunteer guys, out on those recruiting meals with us because it's equally important for them to be kind of involved in that process. And, parents want to know who their kids are around. I think that's really important when kids are coming to school. So there's a few differences, but I don't treat it very different from the way I did down West Texas.
Obviously, year one for you, coming to a close, getting ready to roll into your sophomore year as a head coach here at St. Cloud. As this spring comes about, as it continues to roll into the summer, from a program building perspective, what are some things that you're working on to continue kind of building that new culture, building that new image of Huskies men's hoops?
Yeah, well, the season ends and we have a 2-week break, in Division II where we can't work with them. So that's kind of a hard reset for the guys. Obviously, just some small injuries and stuff. They're banged up, so rehabbing. But then we get back into it, and then we're into our individual work on the court, working throughout the week. The weight room piece is so important. We've got our strength guy and Josh Newman, and he's done an exceptional job with them. I mean, they're lifting 4 days a week, and we need to change bodies, I think, is part of it. The NSIC is physical. It's rough and tumble. We got beat up at times, so that's been a big piece of the off-season work. And now that the guys have had a year in our system, offensively, they understand what that looks like. They understand the screening actions. They understand reading those things. So now we're just kind of hammering home some of those points and obviously playing out of some of the sets that we use just in breakdown segments. And then, the recruitment side is huge. We'll have a lot of freshmen coming in this year. That'll be an adjustment. It'll be nice to have now carryover from the previous year with guys who now know what it looks like. So yeah, it's been a really good off season, and I think, as I look at where we are now as opposed to, last year I didn't even have the job yet. I feel like we're light years ahead, in this moment. We're still a long way to go to get to where we want to be.
Yeah, talking about looking back maybe a little bit here too, you had to learn an entirely new roster, learn how to fit pieces into the system, build the system around the players as well. What was that process like for you in learning those new chess pieces that you had to work with here?
Yeah, when you get, it starts with watching film, right? So you get the job, you figure out, okay, how do guys fit? What are their tendencies? You can look at a stat sheet, and that only tells you half the picture of kind of who they are as a player and how they're coached, how they receive coaching. And that was probably a learning process through a portion of the year to figure out how to connect and, relay messages and get guys to understand exactly what you're asking of them. So, Yeah, it is. That's an adjustment period. It is for any coach, but I feel like the guys, to their credit, were very coachable this year and competed and really just about in every game throughout the season. So I was pleased with their effort throughout.
As you get those pieces to fit, as you build the system around the players and start to craft what you want Huskies men's basketball to look like, what is that culture? What is that system that you like to run, that you look forward to running with this group?
I think we had conversations at the start of the year just as a staff of, okay, maybe our system doesn't necessarily fit the group that we have right now, but, where do we want to be 2 or 3 years from now? Do we want to slow down the pace of the game, maybe run a few more sets and try and eke out some more wins, or do we really want to run what we're going to run moving forward? And we settled on that. I mean, I don't think that was a tough decision, but there's some growing pains there, right, as guys are trying to adjust to what we're doing. And we're free-flowing. We're pretty open, but I want accountable guys who can make decisions on their own while they're on the floor and make those decisions together. So I give them a lot of freedom. Obviously, there's structure there. There's expectations. You got to understand what is and isn't a good shot. You have to know spacing. You have to know how to read screening actions. So, and again, that takes time because it is more or less a motion offense with some sets involved. But, throughout the course of the year, I think towards the end, we saw our efficiencies get better, our movement was better, reads were better, and so we're headed in the right direction there.
Coach, you've certainly had some experience with figuring things out quickly, working in a new culture, working in new systems. Here on What's Good Huskies, we have a segment where we give you some quick decisions to make.
Boy.
I'm going to hit you with some questions. You have a minute, so we'll throw 60 seconds on a clock, and you're going to get these questions, and I want to hear your answer as quick as you can with them. Are you ready?
Oh, boy. I'm a pretty thoughtful guy, so I'll do the best I can to be for the moment.
All righty. Q, name a basketball player you'd most like to shoot around with.
Probably Michael Jordan, idol.
What's your favorite sports movie?
I'm trying to remember the Titans.
Favorite non-sports movie?
That's a tough one. Saving Private Ryan.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Other than in St. Cloud, what's the favorite city that you've coached in?
It'd have to be Australia, Melbourne area.
It's looking at keeping the tune there with St. Cloud. What's your favorite jersey that the guys wear here?
Favorite jersey? We've got two, red and white.
So red or what?
I like playing at home, so I'll take white.
What's your most played album right now?
I don't know if I have a most played. I've got a practice list for the guys. There's a lot of Drake on there.
A lot of Drake?
A lot of Drake.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Nope, not at all.
Go-to pizza topping?
Sausage.
What's the most memorable game of your coaching career?
Oh, boy. Yeah, we played for national title 2 years ago at WT, and we hit a shot at the horn in the Final Four game. It was the first time we'd led the entire game. Pretty memorable.
Q, you had a really good playing career at Winona State. What's your most memorable game from your playing career?
I honestly can't even give you one. We had so many good memories throughout that time. Obviously played for 3 titles, won 2. I loved every minute of it.
All right, with that, I think that hits our 60 seconds. Q, thanks so much for that piece. We'll be back in just a bit with more What's Good Huskies. Welcome back to What's Good Huskies. We're here with Quincy Henderson, the head men's basketball coach here at St. Cloud State University. Q, we've chatted a little bit about your career. We've learned a little bit about you as well with some pretty quick questions. What we're curious about now is you coming to St. Cloud State. This is your first year. You went through the hiring process last summer. What were some of the things that attracted you to this place, this campus, this community?
And obviously I was in Texas for 8 years before coming up here. And just as I think of, this job and the opportunity it presented, I'm, again, from Wisconsin, Madison area, not far away, played in the NSIC, at Winona State. And I remember playing there and thinking about St. Cloud is a really cool place. They had good basketball. A lot of my friends would come up here to hang out on some weekends or leaving Winona to do that. So I always thought it was a pretty cool place at that point. And as you look kind of back through the history of the program and what they've accomplished with, NCC conference titles, NCAA tournament runs, and the great coaching that's been here through a long period of time, it's just a really appealing place. And I thought the infrastructure's here. Basketball is big. People love hoops, up in this area. And it's a place that is a winner, should be a winner, and will be a winner.
Have you noticed that impact of the community around the basketball program, the Huskies fans, the student influence on the game as well?
Well, they're just so supportive. As from day one, when I got on campus and even doing the interview process where we had the open forum and talking to some of those passionate fans after that, and them reminiscing about the last 30 years. History I had no idea existed, or some of the names they threw out there. But as I've gotten to know some of those stories and the people behind them, it's a really neat setup.
With your mindset and philosophies on development and growth of this group, 2 years and 5 years down the road, what do you think this program is capable of?
I don't want to put, anything specific in terms of this will be attained or any of that. But, as a team that should be atop the NSIC, atop the region, and should be competing at the national level, consistently. And that's the plan for us moving forward. As I think of this year and the coming year, it's where are we 3 years from now? Where are we 5 years from now? Where does this put us then? And we've just as a staff tried to think along that timeline with the decisions we're making now.
What are some of those goals that you have put in place in terms of development steps for this group?
Well, the first part is the recruitment, right? Getting high-level Division II players in here, and then giving them a system where they're going to excel and really coaching them up. And I want the Huskies to hang their hat on just being hard-nosed, gritty, and really getting after it at all times. I think this is a blue-collar town. I think people can appreciate that. They understand that. That's the brand of basketball that they want to see, and that's what I want to put on the floor. My goal is to do that every game we step out. That's what it should look like if we're locked in.
Coach Quincy Henderson here. We're so fortunate to have you at St. Cloud State. Really excited about the future of this program. Q, thanks so much for joining us here today on What's Good Huskies.
Appreciate you, Thomas.
It's certainly been a good one here. And for Quincy Henderson, this is Thomas Breach signing off.